You check the balance. Not because you need to, you just do. It's 11:43 at night. You're lying on a mattress that cost $1,400, not secondhand, not Facebook Marketplace, a real one from a real store. You paid cash, and you still check the balance. The number is $34,000. Savings account, not including the brokerage, not including the 401k, just the savings account. The number is fine. More than fine. You screenshot it anyway. You grew up in a house where the heat went off in February. Not broken. Off. You knew the difference. By the time you were 9. Broken means someone comes to fix it. Off means the bill didn't get paid. You slept in a hoodie, pulled over your face. You didn't tell anyone at school. You already knew not to tell anyone at school. Your mother kept a coffee can in the cabinet above the refrigerator. Red lid. Maxwell House. Not coffee inside. Cash. Folded bills in rubber bands. Emergency money. Always there. Never growing. Never moving. Just sitting in the dark. Waiting for something bad to happen. That coffee can was your entire financial education. Nobody sat you down and explained poverty. Nobody handed you a pamphlet. It was quieter than that. It was the way. Your mother's jaw tightened. When the car made a noise, it didn't make yesterday. The way your father changed the subject when someone mentioned retirement. The way every conversation about the future eventually hit a wall, an invisible one, made of nothing but habit and history and the unspoken belief that people like you don't end up somewhere different than where you started. You absorbed it, the way children absorb everything, completely, without knowing you were doing it. By the time you had words for any of it, it was already in the walls. At 12, you were doing math in your head, automatically. Not school math, the other kind. How much is left? How far it has to stretch? How many days until the end of the month? You didn't know that was unusual. You thought everyone did that. All the time, like breathing. At 15, you stopped asking for things, not because your parents were cruel, because the look on their face when you asked was worse than not having the thing. That look taught you more than any classroom ever did. It taught you that wanting more was dangerous, that needing something was a liability, that the correct posture for someone in your position was gratitude for what you had, not hunger for what you didn't. You got a job at 16, not for spending money, for the weight of needing things, which felt unbearable, which felt like debt, even when nothing was owed. Your first paycheck was $187. You kept the stub in your pocket for 3 months, not in a drawer, your pocket, like you needed to be able to touch it, like it might disappear if you couldn't. You ate lunch alone sometimes, so you didn't have to explain why you weren't buying anything from the cafeteria line. Invisible was easier. Wanting nothing was easier than wanting things you couldn't have. So you trained yourself, quietly, without knowing you were doing it. You built a whole internal architecture around one belief: wanting is dangerous. Needing is weakness. Having enough is something other people do. You were 23 when the number first crossed $10,000. You had never seen 5 figures before, not once, not in your family, not in your house. You checked the balance every day for 2 weeks, not from anxiety, from disbelief. You kept waiting for it to correct itself, like the bank had made a mistake, like someone would call and explain the error. Nobody called. You bought one thing for yourself that year, just one: headphones, not expensive ones, but new, from a store, with a box. You sat on your bed and opened it slowly, like it might disappear if you moved too fast. It didn't disappear. That surprised you, more than it should have. The next few years happened the way all important years happen. Quietly. A better job, then a better one. A raise you negotiated while your hands were shaking under the conference table. An apartment with a dishwasher. A parking spot with your name on a laminated card taped to the wall. A couch you bought new from a store, and when it arrived, you sat on the edge of it, just the edge. Like comfort had a limit, like you'd use it up if you weren't careful. You were 31 when the brokerage account crossed $80,000. You opened it 3 years earlier, stared at the empty balance. For 2 weeks, before you put anything in, you put $1,500 in. The market dipped the next day. You almost pulled it out. A man named Devin at work told you not to. He said, just look away. He said, the looking is the problem. You looked away. You bought more. At 33, you had what the articles called financial stability, emergency fund, Roth IRA, no consumer debt, a 401k. You'd been maxing for 2 years, a brokerage account that made $4,200 last year. Without you doing a single thing, you printed the year-end statement, looked at the number, folded it, put it in a drawer. Not because it wasn't real, because making it real in your body was harder than making it real on paper. Here is what nobody tells you about escaping. The escape is real. The numbers are real. The apartment is real. The account is real. The paycheck is real. But the thinking came with you. It packed its own bag. It knew your new address before you did. You are at a grocery store on a Tuesday afternoon. Bright lights, cart in your hands. You pick up the good olive oil, $13. You put it back. You pick up the $4.79 bottle. You stand there for a second. You know what you earn. You know what's in the account. You did the math 3 seconds ago. Automatically. You always do. You put the $4.79 bottle in the cart. And you know, it isn't about the olive oil. You are at a restaurant with a friend named Claudette. Nice place. Her suggestion, linen tablecloths, a menu with no prices. On the guest copy, you ask the waiter for the other menu, the one with the prices. He looks at you for half a second, longer than necessary. You laugh it off. Inside, something old tightens, something familiar. You order carefully, not based on what you want, based on what seems reasonable, based on what won't look like too much. Claudette orders, without looking at the prices. You watch her. You've been watching people do that your whole life. You've never stopped wondering what it feels like. Your colleague Marcus gets a bonus, bigger than yours. He mentions it casually, over lunch. The way you mention the weather. He says he's thinking about buying a boat. A boat. You think about the $187 paycheck. You think about the coffee can. You think about the folded napkin under the table leg. You say that sounds great. You mean it. But something underneath is doing its own math. Always. The math never turns off. You go home for the holidays. Same house. Same smell in the walls. Something that's always been there. You notice it now. Immediately. Your mother made too much food. She always makes too much now. Like she's trying to rewrite something. Like abundance is an apology. You eat past full. Because there's enough. Because it's safe. Because every full plate now is a quiet argument against every empty one before. And still, part of you is counting. You drive past the grocery store you grew up going to. You park for a second. You remember calculating totals. before the cashier finished scanning. The way you rehearsed. Can we put that back? Just in case. You never had to say it. But you were always ready. You are still always ready. Even now. Even here. Even with money in the bank. You are still ready to put the thing back. That's the part nobody talks about. They talk about the Roth IRA, the index fund, the emergency fund, the debt payoff, compound interest. Those things are real. Those things matter. Those things saved you. But they don't reach the part that learned the lesson before you had language. The part that learned it in a kitchen, in February, in a hoodie, pulled over your face. That part didn't get the memo. That part is still doing the math. You are 40 years old. The accounts look like this. Brokerage, $190,000. 401k, $210,000. Roth IRA, $94,000. Savings, $48,000. Real estate equity, $140,000. Net worth, $682,000. The math held. All those years, all those decisions, the system worked. And yet, it is 11:43 at night. You open the app. You check the balance. Not because you need to. You just do. The number is fine. More than fine. You screenshot it. Like someday, someone won't believe you. Like you still don't fully believe yourself. This is what nobody tells you about the escape. The escape is real. You earned it. Every dollar is real. You won by every measurable standard. You won. But the mind that got you out never stopped working. It never retired. Because that's what it was built to do. Because you built it. At 9 years old, in a cold room, in February, and you're still living inside it. Somewhere in this city tonight, a kid is doing the math. In his head, automatically, how much is left? How far it has to stretch? How many days until the end of the month? He thinks everyone does it. All the time. Like breathing. He doesn't know what he's building. He doesn't know it will save him. He doesn't know it will stay. He goes to sleep in his hoodie. The account changed. The hand checking it didn't. That's not a failure. That's the whole story.